Very well, Council. We resume proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Commissioners, I recall Mr. Noah Touray. Mr. Touray, your summons today is in, you were summoned today with regard to PACPEC, which is a subcommittee of the National Assembly. I believe you dealt with PACPEC, the PACPEC report. PAC and PEC, the PAC and PEC report. What does PAC and PEC stand for?
Yes. All right. Oh, okay, good.
Thank you very much. Good morning. PAC and PEC is the Public Accounts Committee and the Public Enterprises Committee of the National Assembly.
Okay. How did you become involved with PAC and PEC?
I recall that sometime in 2012, a report was submitted, a report of the PAC-PEC covering 2011 and 2012, I think, was submitted to the Office of the President with recommendations. So the President directed that, the former President, Yahya Jammeh, directed that a task force should be set up to look at the recommendations and determine the way forward. So that task force was set up. I can't remember who were the other members, but I know very well that the former Minister of Justice, Mr. Moudlami Jobate, was the chairperson. And at some point, at the beginning, I was
the Attorney General and Minister of Justice.
Then, yes, Mr. Jobate, yes. And he was the chairman, the chairperson. And I remember at the beginning, I was secretary to that task force. But after a short while, I think I got appointed as Secretary to Cabinet, so I couldn't continue.
Sorry, you have to slow down a little bit, so yes, you're not being very distinct.
Okay.
You said you were a member or the Secretary?
No, I was the Secretary.
To the task force?
I was the Secretary to the task force, yes. But that was just for a brief period, because I think thereafter I was appointed Secretary to Cabinet, and then I had to, leave that function. And then at the time, there was a deputy PAPS at the Office of the President called Maria Manjai. She took over. Maria Manjai.
Maria Manjai.
Yeah, she took over from me.
As the Secretary?
Yes, please. That was how I was involved.
I'm going to show you this report. I would
Yes.
like you to, by the way, how did you, the report was sent to the Office of the President?
Yes, the volume there, the report. I think 2 volumes.
I'm going to
or 1
show you
volume,
this
yes.
report. Just confirm that this is the PAC and PEC
Okay,
report.
yes, please.
That was sent, pursuant to which the task force was set up.
Yes, that is it. It is one, yes. Yes, please.
Sorry, that's the report.
Yes, please.
All right. Accounts were opened in the name of PACPEC, or an account was opened.
That is correct.
At Trust Bank Limited.
That is correct.
Why was this account open?
The former president directed that the account should be opened and that monies that were to be recovered from the exercise should be paid into that account. That was why the account was opened.
Was this directive in writing?
Yes, it is in writing, I would want to believe, yes.
Right, we've not been able to, we haven't come across it yet, but I'll show you. You opened the account, is that correct?
Yes, I did. We had to write to the Ministry of Finance seeking approval, and then, the account was opened thereafter.
I'm going to show you these documents from Exhibit BB95. This is an account opening package from the Trust Bank Limited. And I'd like you to confirm that you had written the letter to open the account.
Yes, please, I did.
And the letter of the Ministry of Finance, of course, is also attached.
Yes, I have seen it.
Approving the request to open the account.
That is correct.
However, something that I'd like you to know, you wrote to Trust Bank on the 1st of August 2014 and communicating directives from the Secretary General.
Yes.
Yes. But the letter from Finance approving the opening of the account is dated August 12th. Can you explain that?
Yes, this might have been an error. I'm sure if we go through the file, we'll detect that it's an error.
Sorry?
I'm sure it might have been an error.
It might have been an error.
Yeah, the date, yes, definitely. Because the bank would not open the account without the letter from the Ministry of Finance.
And you wrote saying that the Secretary General and yourself were to be signatories to the account.
Yes, please.
Was it possible that you, as at the time, not Secretary General, I don't know, were you cabinet? You were permanent secretary at this time.
Yes, I was.
Did you have authority to open accounts?
No, I didn't have authority, but this was a directive. It was a directive from the president to say that an account has to be opened. So that's why we.
But I would have thought that the accounting officer, who is the Secretary General, would have been the one to write to the bank if that was in fact proper.
Yeah, but you see, there are a lot of things that the Secretary General would not do. He'll delegate, in fact, because all these directives from the president are addressed to the Secretary General. But given the nature of his schedule, he wouldn't be able to do all those things. So he would direct that.
So you were just acting on his behalf.
Exactly, that is correct.
All right, Mr. Touray, why was this account open?
Yes, as I said before, the account was open so that the monies recovered from the monies recovered by the task force would be paid into that account.
So the task force was to recover money?
Yes, please. That is correct.
So PACPEC submitted a report and a task force was set up to recover monies?
Yes, owed to public enterprises.
Owed to public enterprises?
Yes, please.
These public enterprises are outside of government, as we all know.
Yes.
What was the rationale for setting up a task force to recover money due to public enterprises?
I wouldn't know why it was so, but I know that PACPEC reports are usually sent to the president. So in this case, he decided that this has to be set up.
He just gave directives.
It was his decision.
There was no explanation as to why that was necessary.
We wouldn't know, because what happens is that when this report is submitted to the Secretary General, a summary is done and sent to him for his information and further directives. So he issued a directive that this task force should be set up and recovery is made.
Okay, and the recoveries were to be paid into an account under the Office of the President.
An account?
That account was opened by the Office of the President?
Yes.
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 And the signatories were from the Office of the President?
Yes.
I just want to understand the thinking. Was it recommended by the Secretary General that this is what needs to be done? One just doesn't understand why the Office of the President would be involved in trying to recover monies that were owed to public enterprises. And even if they were involved, why monies recovered should be paid and be under the control of the Office of the President. Of course, if it was not discussed at all, that's something else. But
yes,
why? We just need to understand the rationale.
This is it might be a difficult question for me to answer, because these were directives by the President. Like I said, when this report was submitted to him, a summary was made. When it was submitted to the Secretary General, a summary was made and sent to him for his information and further directives. So he issued a directive that this and ABC should be done, and that is what we did. He asked us to open the account, we opened the account.
Okay. All right, Mr. Touray, could you tell us then how this account was managed? I'll come to the transactions. There are several transactions in the account we would like you to explain.
Yes, initially, when the account was opened, it was sort of a deposit-only account. It was deposit only. So for a long time, it was like that, and monies were being paid into it. But after a while, AMRC wrote a letter requesting that some of the monies which were paid into the account actually were debts owed to them. They were requesting that the money should be returned to them, refunded, paid back to them. So that matter got to the President, and he approved that. The next question is, who would be the signatories to the account? We sent it back to him, and he said, myself and the Secretary General should be signatories to the account. So that was how we withdrew the money from the account and paid it to AMRC. That was how the account was opened. There are records to that effect.
So the deposit account was converted into a current account. Is that what you're saying?
No, not a current account. Okay, savings account, sort of. Yeah. But then because the monies were just kept there, with the hope that at some point, he will give a decision as to what to do. In this case, he decided that those amounts belonging to AMRC should be paid back to AMRC, which we did.
The account opening package is not dated. But you became signatory to the account on 1st of August 2014, according to the letter.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. So basically, those who owed money to PEs paid into this account. Mr. Touray?
Yes, please, yes.
Including AMRC?
Yes.
And you're saying AMRC requested for the monies to be paid to them?
Yes, that is correct.
Right. Now, there are some transactions, however, that don't relate to AMRC.
That is true.
And I'll just show you, there are just 5 transactions I would like you to explain. And these are payments from the Exhibit BB, the same Exhibit BB 65. I'm going to show you two checks, one dated 6 August 2012, and for which you seem to be the payee. Another check dated 7 August 2012, which the PACPEC task force was the payee, in the sum of 443,000. The sum for which you are payee is 323,750, and also the letters written to the bank. This is transaction number 60, 61, and 62. Let's start with the first one. That is the check which says Pay Noir Touray, dated 6 August 2010.
Yes, please, I've seen it.
Yes. What is that about?
This money, you see, the AMRC did not have access to the account at this time. So when people paid monies to them, they would send it to us to pay into the account. So as you can see, this check was run in my name, but I paid it into the account. 320, the 6th of August, it was paid, the check was run in my name, and that...
I don't understand. Isn't the authorized signatory is not yourself?
No, you see, this check is from AMRC.
Okay. The signature is not yours?
No, the signature is not mine. The check is from the AMRC.
Okay.
It was given to me to pay into the account.
All right, let's look at this bank statement. Okay, what's the check number?
The check number is it's not legible.
Can you look at the statement, BB 95, please? Okay. Is that the same explanation for the second one, 443,000? That's not your...
No, this one I think was paid directly into the account.
Okay.
Was paid by MRC into the account.
Can you look at the statement, the first and second credit transactions? Are those the amounts you're talking about? The first one, 7 August 2012.
323. Yes, please.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let's go to the transaction number 60, 61, and 62. I have given them to you separately.
Yes, yes, okay, I've seen it.
One is a letter written by yourself and Khalid Ubayo.
Yes, please.
For the payment of 3.8 million to AMRC.
Yes, please.
Okay. Those are the three debits, main debits from the account.
Yes, that's correct.
Can you explain this one? It's to refund them.
This one, as I said before, AMRC sent a letter to the office asking that the amounts which were collected on their behalf be paid back to them, which we did, and that's the payment. That is this payment.
Okay.
3,852,885. This was paid to the MRC.
All right.
And this was,
that's the payment to MRC.
Yes, this was approved by the president then.
The second one, the transaction dated 12 January 2016.
Yes, please. This payment was
to Alpha Media Production.
Yes, it was paid to.
They are not a PE, are they?
No, they are not a PE. They are not a PE.
Why were they being paid?
This for a service, for a project that they executed at the office of the president at State House. The company built a guard's house, a new guard's house.
A new?
Guard's house.
Guard's house.
Yes, guard's house. Yes, it's a one-story guard's house. So
Where exactly?
At State House. At State House. Yes.
Where in State House?
In Banjul.
Yes, where? Which we have visited the State House.
Just behind the I don't know if you are familiar with State House.
We visited, the commission has visited the grounds.
Okay. The current guardhouse, it's between the current guardhouse and the tent. I don't know if you noticed a building there. It's a new building. Between the current guardhouse and the tent at the back. So it's right in the middle, just behind the guardhouse, okay. the old guardhouse.
So they were contracted to build a guardhouse?
Yes.
Were you responsible for the contract?
Yes, I signed the contract.
You signed the contract with them?
Yes.
And then what? You decided to pay them from these funds?
No, I did not decide to pay them from these funds. We had approval from the president to pay from these funds.
How much was the contract for?
The contract sum was, I can't remember exactly, but I think I need to see the contract to remind myself. I don't know if this was fully paid. Because before this contract was fully executed, I had left the office of Secretary of Cabinet.
So the second payment, this first payment is for $2,254,313, is 10 bututs. And the second payment to Alpha Media Production is $1,127,156.
That is correct.
From the same account?
That is correct, yes.
You're saying this is all in respect of the construction of the guardhouse? Yes. But this is PE money, isn't it?
It is. I accept. It is.
Why did the Secretary General's office, which you were part of, just make a recommendation that the monies be paid to those who are entitled, like AMRC? Why only AMRC?
Because AMRC, it's only AMRC which requested to be paid.
So the other PEs did not request, so
therefore... the other PEs did not request, and I think they were...
Did they have to request to be paid? This is their money.
Principally...
And the task force was to recover this money. Why wasn't it just refunded to them?
Okay, that is correct, but you see, even then, the Secretary General couldn't have said pay them, so... The
Secretary General couldn't
have said, that the money should be refunded to them.
Why?
Or paid to them.
Why?
Because at the time everything was approved by the president, directed by the president. That's the reality. Everything. There was no independence in acting. So you had to say everything, decide everything.
At the level of the task force?
At the level of the task force?
Yes. Why did they not take these necessary steps to refund the monies they were recovering? Was there any reason?
No, they didn't have access to those funds. The task force didn't have access to those funds. That was just to make sure that the monies were collected and paid into the account designated by the president.
So how were the funds collected? How did people know to pay to this account?
No, the people who owed the monies were summoned by the task force. They were summoned by the task force and asked to pay. They were summoned by the task force.
Who was the Secretary General at this time?
2012. I need to refer to the records.
Was it
might have been.
I see that Khalidou Bayo was signatory to this account. Was he the Secretary General?
No, he was not Secretary General at the time. I think the Secretary General at the time was Dr. Ba.
But this account opening information shows he was signatory.
No, like I said, these monies were in the sort of a fixed deposit for a while.
Sorry, they stayed in the. So the account was opened when he was Secretary General, but by the time it was spent, you're saying he wasn't there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is correct.
But then look at the instructions to pay MRC was signed by yourself and Dr. Khalidou Bayo.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
See, like I said, the account, when it was opened,
yes,
it was...
And then Suleiman Samba.
Fixed deposit. It was a fixed deposit that time. You see, it was after words that AMRC requested for their monies, and we had to request the signatories from the president. He directed that so and so should sign to receive the money.
So did the president at least communicate his reasons for asking you to open a fixed deposit account? No? What was his thinking?
I wouldn't know, because that's not the first time he would...
Although it doesn't look like maybe it's a savings account, but it doesn't look like a fixed deposit account.
No, okay, maybe what I want to say is that the monies were just paid into the account. It was sort of blocked. Nobody could have access to it. They were just put there, and that was it. So when AMRC requested for their money, that was the time we had to ask the president to identify signatories so that AMRC could get this money. That was when, myself and Kalbala were identified to be signatories. But when the deposit was made, I think maybe 1 year after, before AMRC could request for a refund.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I don't have any further questions on this issue for Mr. Touray.
No questions, you mean?
Yeah, you're required to come back on the 11th for other issues.
Yeah. All right, you may leave.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I call Pa Makumba Njai. Oh, I forgot to tender this.
I swear by the Almighty Allah.
I swear by the Almighty Allah.
That the evidence which I shall give to this commission.
That the evidence which I shall give to this commission.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me Allah.
So help me Allah.
You kindly state your full name, please.
Pa Makumba Njai.
Where do you live, Mr. Njai?
Kotu.
What work do you do at the moment?
Nothing.
Surely you're a director somewhere or someplace. You don't do anything? Are you not a director anywhere?
Yeah, I am.
Yes.
I'm a director on some of the boards.
You're director of?
I'm a director on some boards.
Okay. Could you tell us? Yes.
TBL.
You're director of TBL, that stands for Trust Bank Limited?
Yes.
Where else?
Enterprise Life Insurance.
Sorry?
Enterprise Life Insurance.
Enterprise Life Insurance.
Yes.
That's all?
Yeah.
Would you like to sit down, please?
Thank you.
Mr. Jai, you were managing director of Trust Bank Limited.
Yes, sir.
For how long?
About 15 years.
And this is from which year to which year, please?
2001 to 2016.
Before you were director of Trust Bank Limited, did you hold any office in that bank?
Yes, I was executive director before.
Sorry?
I was an executive director before.
Executive Director.
Yes.
In relation to which function?
Credit. Credit.
During which period?
97 to 2000.
1997 to?
2001, when I became
2001.
MD.
In 1994, what position did you hold? As at July 22nd, 1994.
1994. That was during the time of Meridian Bank, and I was an operations manager.
Operations.
Yeah.
Meridian Bank.
Yes.
Meridian Bank was the successor of Commercial Bank. Is that
Yes.
it? And Trust Bank Limited, the successor of Meridian Bank.
Meridian Bank, yes.
Right, thank you. Various Trust Bank accounts have been submitted to this commission in relation to the commission's mandate. Today we would like you to give us some assistance in relation to an account called the MYJ Family Trust Account. And I'm going to give you the documents that have been admitted, including the signature card, the bank statement, and the transaction documents.
Yes.
It's BB 107, Mr. Chairman. BB 107.
Yeah.
Let's start with the signature card. If you look at the second page, indicates that it was opened by one Ahmad Hodroj.
Hodroj, yes.
Did you deal with Ahmad Hodroj at any time whilst you were MD?
Yes, I did.
Who was Ahmed Hodroj?
When I met Ahmed, he was the managing director at Euro-African.
By Euro-Africa, you mean Euro-African Group Limited?
Euro-African Group, yeah. He was the managing director. That's how I met him.
Do you recollect approximately what year this was? How long before or after this account? Before this account, I presume. This account seemed to have been opened in 2010.
Yes, it was before this account.
It was before this account.
Yes.
He was the managing director of Euro-Africa Group, you said.
Yes.
Was he signatory to other accounts, to your recollection?
On Euro-African?
Or on any other account? We know he signed on Kanilai International, KGI, Kanilai Group International as well.
Yeah, I think there was a time he was also working at KGI.
Right. On the account opening information, there's very sparse information on this account opening form. Why? It says it's an MYJ trust, but we have no trust deed, no document to support the fact that it's a trust, family trust.
Yes.
Yes. Is there any explanation for this?
At the time, our account opening forms were very limited, and we accepted this as the account opening at the time.
What is MYJ Family Trust? What do you know about it?
What I know about the account?
Yes. It
Yes.
says it's an MYJ Family Trust.
Yes.
What does it mean? Whose trust is this?
It was opened by Ahmed. Yes, and what else?
That's it. He just said I wanted to open an MYJ trust, family trust account, and it was open.
Yes.
Mr. Njai, this MYJ Family Trust is connected to the Potomac property purchased and occupied by the ex-president's family.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
Not at all.
Now, when MYJ Family Trust account was opened, I believe you must have approved the opening of the account as managing director.
Yes, I'm sure I did.
Was there any query in the bank as to what it meant, what connection it had, and to whom it was connected? What does MYJ mean? That's an acronym, surely.
Yes.
What does it mean? Do you know?
I think it was Mariam Yaya Jame.
Mariam Yaya Jame.
Family Trust, yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, we noted that or at least the evidence before this commission was that all the monies that went into this account were cash payments.
Yes.
Now, the difficulty we had was in determining who made the cash payments. Let's look at the transactions are numbered. The bank was kind enough. There was a first payment of $800,000.
Yes.
Now, the bank manager, Mr. Salah, cannot, well, it's obvious from the face of the current account deposit slip that there is no indication of who deposited this sum. Are you able to assist us as to who deposited this sum?
No, but I was asked that question before. But if you see on one of them, it was deposited by Ahmed. So I assume that all of them were deposited by Ahmed.
Who would deal with this? Who was the account manager for this?
I think at what time I was handling the account.
Sorry? You
were
managing
the account, yes.
You were managing it?
Yes, at one time. But when they come to pay in, I don't even get to know. They have an account number, so they can just go to the cashier and pay into the account.
Okay. So you assume that all the payments were made by Ahmed Hodre?
Yes, I would say so.
Even where it doesn't say so?
I would say so, yeah.
That they were made by him?
Yes.
Right. Now, I also note that whenever there were payments, for instance, there was a 800,000, 125,000, 75,000, and then immediately thereafter, 1 million was transferred to Paragon Title and Escrow Company, MAHT Trust account. And the same pattern gets repeated. There's deposit of 1,500,000, then a transfer again of 1.5 million. And that pattern was followed. In a space of about a month, the sum of 3.5 approximately was transferred to Paragon Title Escrow Company. As at the time that this was being done, was there any explanation as to why such huge sums of money were being transferred to America, to this company?
No, there was no explanation.
Okay. Did you have any procedure, any rules, particularly in relation to the transfer of substantial sums of money from Gambia to outside?
No, there were no limits on the monies to be transferred from the country. However, we had a screening process. You had a screening process that they go through. The applicant and the recipient will have to be screened on the sanctions list. And as long as they are cleared, we can make the transfer.
The sanctions list?
Yes, there's a list. There's a sanctions list.
Could you explain?
Where there is this, the UN list, people who are on sanctioned by UN or other agencies, So we have a software that we run through so that if the sender, we run both the sender and the recipient. And if they're not on the list, then we can send it.
I see. So in this case, who would you run? Would it be Ahmed Hodroj? Or would it be Paragon?
Ahmed and Paragon.
Yeah, Jame.
No, it's Ahmed.
You ran Ahmed.
And Paragon, yes.
But you did at the time know that these monies were being transferred on behalf of the president?
We never knew that. I didn't know that.
So how did you know it was Mariam Jame?
Well, that's the name of the account, he said.
That is, okay. That's what you were told?
Yes.
Okay. There is a transfer, skipping the ones to Paragon, there is a transfer of 300,000 to there are two transfers that did not go to, I don't seem to have a copy. There are two transfers that did not go to Paragon.
Yeah.
Yes, can you find them? If you could kindly.
Yeah, there's a 200,000.
Yes.
Which went to Ahmed.
Yes.
Yes, Nebraska.
Do you know anything about that transaction?
No, I don't. I don't.
Did you ask him about the source of these funds?
No, I did not.
Sorry?
No, I did not.
Considering that these are cash payments into the account, was there any restriction about accepting cash payments?
Not really on the foreign currency side, because on the foreign currency, most of the transactions, most of the inflows are cash anyway. I mean, that is why we have the weekly shipments outside of the country.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I say on the foreign currency, we deal with cash mostly because it's a cash-based economy. So on a weekly basis, we do send those cash overseas to be credited to the accounts. So most of the transactions are in cash.
This was 2010?
Yes.
There were no restrictions on money laundering at the time?
There were no restrictions on shipment. Money laundering, I'm not sure.
Aren't you required to make an investigation where significant cash was being paid into any account?
In 2010, I'm not sure when the law came into effect, I don't think so.
Right. The second payment, yes, there is a 200,000 to Ahmed Hodroj. There is another one to Ali Muhammad Hijazi of 300,000. It says for leasing a plane.
For leasing a plane?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know either.
There's nothing you can tell us about
no,
this?
No, I don't know about that, no.
Okay. Was authorized by Ahmed Hodroj again?
Yes, he's the account holder.
Did Euro Africa Group have any connection to this account?
I wouldn't know that. The only connection I knew was that Ahmed at one time was the MD at Euro Africa.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions on this account before I move on to the next one. you may have questions.
Mr. Njai,
Yes.
A quick clarification on Ahmad as a managing director of Euro-African,
Yes.
opening an account on behalf of the President's Daughter Trust, MYJ. From a corporate governance standpoint, didn't that raise a red flag? What was the connection of Euro-African Group to the family of the President in terms of banking experience? In plain English, why would Ahmad open that account? Isn't that something part of the opening documentation discussions from a KYC or customer due diligence point of view?
Yes, could have been, but I really didn't know why he opened the account. He came and said he wanted to open a family trust account, and we allowed him to open it.
Regarding questions on the cash
Yes.
deposits and the transfers, the shipment window was mostly for commodity traders, people bringing rice, sugar, oil, collecting cash receipts from the sub-region to facilitate the interregional trade. Now, Euro-African was more of fuel, light fuel, oil. They were not supposed to be collecting a lot of cash in dollars. It was mostly transfers.
No,
So
they did. They did.
They did for rice and sugar?
No,
For which product?
for the fuel, because sometimes if there was a shortage, right, they go to the market, buy foreign currency, and ship for the payment of the oil bills.
So they collected foreign currency from the market,
From the market.
in exchange for the fuel products.
No, in exchange for dollars. Then they ship the currencies and then pay the fuel bills.
Okay. So it wasn't for their product. It was going to the market to buy forex.
Sometimes they did.
Okay. So from the knowledge you have, part of that was what was being deposited in the account. Because yes, while there were no strict limits,
Yeah.
250,000, 300,000, those transactions merited a bit of questioning as to the source and purpose.
Yeah.
So,
Come to think about it now, yes, but at the time, no.
that's fine. There are no answers.
Thank you.
Is that all, Council?
Sorry, there are other questions.
All right.
Mr. Jai, were you the account manager for the ex-president's personal account as well?
Yes.
What did this entail, being account manager for his account?
All it meant was that when he wants to draw from his account, he will send me the instruction to draw from the account and send somebody to pick up the cash.
He would send you sorry, what?
He will send me the authority to draw from the account and send somebody to pick it up.
This is during the period you were MD?
Yes.
Managing director of this
Yes.
account. Are you the first MD of Trust Bank Limited?
Yes, I would say so.
We would like to ask you questions on the President's personal account. This was an account into which, for some period, his salary was being paid.
Yeah.
It's Exhibit 72G, Mr. Chairman. I'll give you the bundle that was submitted from Trust Bank.
Yeah.
Mr. Njai, there were some transactions from this account which you authorized.
Yes.
Which you authorized.
Okay, which ones are these?
Oh, let me just say, there's a transaction dated June 24, 2011, if you could identify it.
Okay. Sorry?
Have you found it? I'd just like you to explain the transaction.
Which one?
June 24, 2011.
June 24th. June 27th.
Have you found it? We'll start with that.
Did you say June 27th?
It's a transaction for 42 million.
Yes.
Yes. What date is it?
27th.
All right. Could you explain that transaction?
Yeah, that was a withdrawal of 42 million.
Sorry, yes.
I'm paid to Mr. Alaji Sise.
Who authorized? Is there a letter of authority from him?
Well, there was. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet from this bundle. I have not seen it from this bundle.
You haven't seen it. But was it authorized? Do you recollect him signing in an authority and sending it in?
I don't know.
All right. Maybe we won't waste time on that. How did the president authorize transactions in this account? Obviously, he didn't come to the bank.
No, he would send it.
Did he always write?
Most of the time he would, yeah.
But sometimes he called.
Very few. Yeah, most of the time he would write. He would send an authority.
So what procedure did you apply when he did not send something in writing?
If he calls?
Yes. When he calls, what happens?
When he calls, I just normally make a notice on the memo. That he called and authorized the payment.
You would write a memo
Yes.
and authorize payment based
Yes.
on the telephone call that you received?
Yes.
All right. Let me just take you back. Let's look at the statement. This account was receiving on a regular basis significant sums of money from Euro Africa Group.
Yes.
It started off, of course, it looked like a salary account, but as I said, on a regular basis, significant sums were being paid into the account. Now, what concerns us, of course, is that this was a salary account, and these huge sums of money in the range of 14 million, I suppose at the time $500,000 were being paid into this account. Did the bank, what was your own, if you have any thoughts, or what can you assist us with in terms of the bank's protocol, if it had any? Is this something that was normal?
Okay. Now this was a salary account, but you say it's a personal account. If I have a salary account, it's my personal account, and if I have other monies, I can still pay them into my salary account. So yes, it was a personal account, but that is where his salary was also paid.
So it was okay. There was no issue as far as the bank was concerned.
Not really, because it was his personal account. Because
of course, you are aware that Euro Africa Group was a company that was doing business with government.
yes,
Could you think of any circumstances why any company would be paying some large sums of money into the president's account?
yeah, you can, but then I wouldn't know why they were paying the money into the account.
And there was no obligation on the bank. Did you flag it? Was there any obligation on the bank to do anything at all about it?
All we did is we asked the Euro African, and they said, well, they have an arrangement to be paying him that much money every month.
You did ask them?
I did ask Mr. Basi.
Okay. So where the president, where you authorize payment to be done on the basis of a call from the president, what then would be the procedure? Payment would be made and that's it?
Yes.
That's it, that's all?
Yes.
You didn't have to resort back to him because we can't find any such document for him to, at least for your records, confirm that he authorized the payment?
We sent him his statement of account.
You sent him a statement of account?
Which he goes through, yes. If you
How
don't
often,
send it,
how often did you send him a statement of
maybe
account?
quarterly, but sometimes even if you don't send it, he would ask for it.
If the president, okay, these are old, I suppose 2012. So basically you're saying that if he had not authorized it, he would have had a comeback. Is that
Sure.
what you're saying?
Sure, yeah.
But are you allowed to do that? Are you permitted to do that, even if you are managing director of a bank?
Given the level that he was, and as long as I can confirm that he authorized it, right, I think I should be able to do it under the circumstances.
You mean given his level and your level?
Yeah, I mean, it's not done for everybody, but yeah,
And this is, you're saying this is permitted?
it's possible, yes.
Okay. Another account I would like your reaction to is the Jammeh Foundation for Peace account. Were you the account manager for this account as well?
Jammeh found this one.
Jammeh Foundation for Peace. It's Dr. Alhaji Yahya Jame Foundation account. Can you collect the exhibits? Sorry, before the commissioners may have questions, or should I proceed?
At the end.
Okay.
Not now.
Can you collect those exhibits? Or leave them for the time being. Commissioners may have questions. Can you give the witness exhibit BB72F?
Okay, Council, maybe we'll take the opportunity since you presented it. Mr. Njai, we are not clear on the question. You said you did ask why the payments were made by Euro African.
Yes.
Could you just elaborate on the reasons that you obtained? Did you say there was an arrangement or obligation on their part to pay? We missed that point.
No, what I said is, if you see what happened in the account, it was overdrawn, and there was an agreement to be paying X amount every month. So when I asked Mr. Bazi what was that for, he said, well, I mean, that is something that they have a payment arrangement with the president.
It's an agreement, that's the word.
No, he sent us an agreement here that we should debit his account monthly and credit the president's account. That is what happened. So when I inquired as to why, all he said was, look, we have an arrangement with him.
Okay, arrangement.
Yes.
With him. He never said what services the president rendered to receive the amount.
No, he didn't say that.
Okay.
No.
And as the personal banker of the president, he never confided in you.
No,
why they should pay him this sum of money.
No, he didn't tell me.
But we also know that the president was paid enough by the state, so he wouldn't get involved in external business arrangements.
He was in business.
Was he a partner to Euro African? Was this part of dividend payments or?
I don't know that.
That's now is the intriguing part.
No, I don't know.
He may have gone into business, but it's not being described as dividend or something related to the business. It's just called an agreement or an arrangement.
Okay. I didn't know why the payment.
Because getting dividends is legitimate if you've got shares. Being paid interest if you have advance money. Our difficulty is we do not have an appropriate adjective for this arrangement or payment. What exactly was it?
Well, I'm sure if it were a dividend at the time of the authority, he would have said this is in respect of dividend payments to him, but he didn't say that.
It's not dividend?
No, so we didn't know.
Okay. Please proceed.
I believe I've just given you exhibit BB72F.
Yes.
Which is the dollar account for Dr. Alhaji Yahya Jame Foundation.
Yes.
Again, substantial sums of money were paid into this account by Euro Africa Group. $500,000 a month from from 28 March 2013. Sorry, from even $1 million actually. From 6 March 2013, there was $1 million credit, and thereafter on 28 March, $500,000, May $500,000, and so on. Can you assist the Commission on these payments, if you can?
Honestly, I don't know.
There is a cash credit also of 2 million from what we have confirmed is the Republic of China account. We will, of course, invite you back on the Republic of China accounts. But I'd just like you to explain, if you can, generally how payments from the Republic of China were handled or endorsed were handled in relation to the Office of the President. There are numerous payments, checks, flowing from ROC, and this is one of them.
Yes.
Yes. So how were these handled? Because these are significant checks, some of them made out to HSBC, well, issued from an HSBC account.
Issued, yeah. Because what the Taiwanese would do is they would issue a check, right, and then the Office of the President will tell us what account to pay it to.
Okay. I see. If it's not paid from their local bank account, then what happens? If it's to be paid from HSBC?
No, what they do is they transfer monies. I think when they give them the check is just for the TV. But then what they do is they transfer.
You mean for publicity? The check was okay.
Yeah. They transfer monies into the local dollar account. Then issue instructions or a check on the local dollar account to Office of the President, and they tell us where to pay it to. The check is not sent for collection.
It would not be sent for collection?
Not the check. They give instructions to.
So this 2 million credit on the 27th January, 18 January actually, 2012, on that statement would just be one of those payments.
I'm sure.
Again, there were some payments from this account, which were, I believe, shown to you, which you authorized. I will confirm if yeah, on what those were also on the strength of a telephone call.
If the authority is not seen, then it must have been a telephone call. But as I said, most of the time there would be an authority. So.
Okay. There's a particular memo that you wrote, dated 19 June 2006. If you could kindly find it, and it's addressed to Mr. Ndambun Touray, HOD Forex Department. That's head of department, right?
Yeah.
HOD stands from Managing Director. And you said, as per instructions from above account holder, please arrange to transfer 150,000 Bokundana as follows. And then you put 100,000 to Jame Foundation for Peace account, and then 50,000 to Kanilai Family Farms. Education account. So this is as an example of what you do when you receive oral instructions. Is that it?
Yes.
This is a memo to debit this account.
Yes.
Jame Foundation for Peace. We have not come across any statutory document, whether it's a constitution or whether it's a memorandum of association. Did they at any time, in any way, formalize the standing of this organization?
Not that I know of.
You cannot recollect ever seeing a constitution or a memorandum?
Not at all. No.
Were you not required, even at this time, to at least have a statutory document to show that this is an organization that was legal and registered? Or even if it wasn't registered, certainly it had some kind of structure?
We didn't see that, and honestly, we didn't ask for it.
You didn't ask for it?
No.
Why?
Because at the time, maybe we were not very big on compliance, and it was okay with us. But I mean, if you wanted to do it now, that's not possible.
Sorry, you said at the time?
The compliance,
yes,
was not a very big issue. It's about 15 years ago, but now it is. So.
Okay. My concern is that this German Foundation for Peace seems to have third parties as signatories to the account. And you had, for instance, one Nancy SJ signing as Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Adi Saj signing as board member and chairman. So if there were no statutes, on what basis could the bank accept documents indicating that these are officers of an organization? Because you only have a board if you organize. I'm sure you agree with that. We just want to understand the bank's thinking. We are dealing with other people apart from the president. Could you not have asked them to regularize the organization?
All we did was anytime that they change management, we have a letter indicating that these are the new signatories to the account. That's all we had.
But management of what? If it's not a registered organization, or even if it's not an unregistered organization, you have nothing to show how this German Foundation for Peace was set up, at least from the account, from the documents that we have seen. So if you had a management, what use is it to have a management of an association that you cannot see?
I don't remember seeing those documents.
Who did you think, as far as the bank was concerned, who was responsible for this account? For instance, if you gave an overdraft and they didn't pay, who could you sue to recover your money?
Oh, the foundation.
Sorry?
The foundation.
I didn't hear.
I said the foundation.
The foundation.
Yeah.
Who is the foundation, Mr. Njai, if it's not registered? Who is the foundation? The fact that, okay, I'll go to another question. The fact that you were the account manager, does it mean that you, as far as you were concerned, this was the president's organization? Is that why you were account manager?
To some extent, yes.
To some extent?
Yeah.
Could you explain why?
Because it was the foundation that was set up by...
Only to some extent, yes?
It was a foundation that was set up by him.
It was a foundation?
That was set up by him.
By him?
And they were using his name.
So you think he was responsible for this?
I should think, yeah.
So what is the responsibility of those who call themselves directors of the foundation?
I think they were just employees.
They were just?
Employees.
Okay. I see. Don't you think the bank was taking a substantial risk in operating account for an organization that literally did not exist?
I agree, but banks always take risks. But in this case, I don't know what happened then.
In this case?
I don't know why we did.
Is it that you bent over backwards because it was the president? Well, we've had public officers saying that they feared or they were concerned or they had reasons that they gave. But what reason did Trust Bank have to accommodate to the president to this extent?
The foundation was set up to operate some clinics and some hospitals. So that's the soft spot we had on the account.
Okay. That was the
soft spot we had on the account because it was for medical reasons.
Of course, there are many accounts, not only this one. There are other accounts, Jammeh Foundation for Peace accounts, as well as PEGEM.
Yeah, yes. They were all project accounts. It's either medical or educational, which at the time Trust Bank was very keen on helping in those areas.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jai. These are the questions I have for Mr. Jai on these accounts for now. There are other accounts. We'll invite him back. If you have, commissioners may have other questions.
It will be a quick one. Mr. Jai?
Yes, sir.
On the point about having a soft spot on some of the president's account, did it have anything to do with the fact that Trust Bank enjoyed a lot of government-directed business? If you raise your compliance standards or toughen the stance, would you have risk losing that directed business?
I can say yes to some extent.
On the flip side, if you gave a loan to JFP and they defaulted, wouldn't the course of action be as per the facility letter, what is detailed? If you give out a loan to JFP and they default, and the loan was clean, why would you have a reason to debit some other account to clear it? Would that be in line with what was detailed in the facility letter?
I don't remember seeing the facility letter, what conditions were in the facility letter, but if it said so, yeah, then we would be. If they were connected accounts, then yeah, we would do that.
Thank you.
Mr. Njai,
yes.
Just a quick question. We heard before that about $2 million was given by Republic of Taiwan, which was paid into the Jammeh Foundation for Peace account. The assumption I am making is that Republic of Taiwan giving Gambia funds, these are public funds. I'm just asking, at that time, were any questions asked why these payments were made into, why the account of Jammeh Foundation for Peace was credited?
No, we just go by the instructions.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we have to rise now anyway, for 15 minutes. Sorry? Oh, very well. You may leave after that,
Till next time, yes. For today. You are released for today. That's what Mr. Chairman is saying.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll call you back.
Very well.
Okay.